Secret escalation, how Israel. Each action calibrated to signal strength without triggering uncontrollable escalation. But something has changed. The exchanges are more visible now. More direct. Less deniable. And when visibility increases, so does pressure on external powers, especially the United States. The U.S. has long maintained deep security ties with Israel. Military aid, intelligence cooperation, joint defense systems. That relationship is not hidden. It is structural. Iran, in turn, has long defined its regional posture in opposition to both Israel and American influence. So, when Israel strikes Iranian-linked targets, or Iran responds with missile launches or maritime pressure, the United States is not a distant observer. It is an embedded actor. This is where escalation becomes layered. An Israeli operation may be framed as defensive or preemptive. An Iranian retaliation may be framed as deterrence. But each move forces Washington to evaluate its commitments. Does it reinforce support publicly? Does it reposition military assets quietly? Does it signal restraint or readiness? Often, the most consequential actions are not the ones announced. Carrier groups shift location. Advisories are issued. Intelligence sharing intensifies. These steps do not always make headlines. Yet they alter the strategic equation. Iran understands this dynamic. By increasing pressure on Israel, Tehran indirectly tests the United States. It probes how far American guarantees extend. It measures response time, rhetoric, and military posture. Israel understands it as well. By demonstrating capability and resolve against Iranian threats, it reinforces the logic of U.S. partnership, reminding Washington that regional stability is interconnected. The result is a triangular tension. Israel acts against perceived threats. Iran responds to preserve deterrence. The United States recalibrates to protect credibility. And credibility, in international politics, is currency. No major power wants to appear unreliable. No ally wants to feel abandoned. No adversary wants to underestimate resolve. But this dynamic creates risk. When two regional rivals escalate, the third party, especially a superpower, can become gradually entangled without a formal decision to enter conflict. It begins with defensive positioning. Then intelligence coordination. Then logistical support. Then visible military presence. Each step is framed as precautionary. Yet precaution can look like preparation. And preparation can be interpreted as provocation. This is how regional disputes expand. Not through sudden declarations, but through accumulated obligations. Consider how maritime routes, energy flows, and regional alliances connect U.S. interests to the conflict. The Strait of Hormuz, for example, remains a critical artery for global energy markets. Any instability there reverberates far beyond the Middle East. So, when tensions spike between Israel and Iran, American policymakers must consider more than bilateral loyalty. They must consider global markets, alliance networks, and domestic political expectations. This multiplies the stakes. For Iran, drawing the United States closer carries both risk and opportunity. On one hand, it increases military imbalance. On the other, it frames the conflict as resistance to broader Western influence, strengthening internal narratives of defiance. For Israel, visible U.S. backing reinforces deterrence, but it also internationalizes what might otherwise remain a contained rivalry. So the question is not simply whether the United States is involved. It is how involved. Is it shaping events from behind the scenes? Is it restraining escalation through quiet diplomacy? Or is it being pulled closer to confrontation by alliance logic? Secret escalation rarely feels dramatic in real time. It feels incremental. A deployment here. A statement there. A coordinated exercise framed as routine. Until the system begins to feel less flexible. History shows that major powers often enter conflicts not through intention, but through obligation. Through treaties. Through promises. Through expectations that accumulate until withdrawal seems costlier than engagement. That is the invisible gravity at work. The danger lies not only in missiles or airstrikes, but in narrowing options. If Israel and Iran continue to test one another openly, the United States may find its strategic space constrained. Support too little, and credibility weakens. Support too visibly, and escalation deepens. Balance becomes fragile. So ask yourself, are we witnessing deliberate entanglement or reluctant alignment? Are these actions coordinated in quiet rooms or unfolding through reactive momentum? And most importantly, at what point does precaution become participation? Look beyond the visible exchanges between Israel and Iran. Watch the quieter movements. The repositioned assets. The language shifts in official statements. Because wars are rarely expanded by accident, but they are often widened by assumption. Share your perspective. Do you see a controlled triangular standoff, or the early stages of a broader confrontation drawing in a global power? The answer may depend less on what is said publicly, and more on what is unfolding quietly behind the scenes.